Okay, cool. So we have our end of March already. Wow. Team meeting for the Impact Empire. And I'm really excited that Kim is coming on today because I've known her for as long as I've been coaching, I feel like, right? We started about the same time, definitely, when I was reading your responses. And I had shared your profile actually with the page and told people to go and check it out, because when you follow Kim on social media, you can expect to see her dancing or her dogs, like no makeup. It's just very raw, uncut. Definitely no makeup. Like
makeup, they're like, oh, totally. Like a different person.
I know. So I love following you because you've kind of seen your whole journey certainly evolve since we started, which is important because we all evolve. I think coaches look at us now and they think that they have to do what we were doing. And I'm always like, dude, if you saw what I was doing 4 years ago, you would not want to be with me on my team. I was like that person you wanted to unfollow with terrible political rants around election season. So it's fun to have her. Kim is a lifetime 1-star diamond coach. She's married to Steve, and she's a fur mama, as her shirt said. She has Biggie and Jada and a cat named Dr. Dre. So we know what kind of genre of music you like. She's been coaching a little over 3 years, and most people don't know she has a titanium rod in her leg, but that does not shoot off the alarms at the airport. It's what she wanted everyone to know.
I just gave you such a random fact just to make it super awkward for you to say it.
No, well, yeah, I'm happy to be super awkward. And I'm honestly happy for everyone on the team to get to hear from Kim, because you have something, look, 2 unique traits I was thinking about that I don't offer my team. One is the fact that you're not a mom yet, a fur mom, but you didn't build this business with kids at home. And I think a lot of people counterintuitively think, oh, if I had kids, like this is a business for moms. You are not yet a human mom. And then the second thing is you built this business really while you had a full-time job. So Rachel's on, she's not a mom yet. She also works full-time. So I think it's great for people to hear a different perspective, that this isn't just a company for stay-at-home moms who have, I guess, nothing better to do during nap time.
Is that how people describe it? That's insane. Oh
I did hear someone, actually Jen, she knows this too, assume that like coaching or really multi-level marketing in general is, especially in the military community, is for bored housewives. That's the connotation. Yeah.
I mean, and that's something to not think about, but like a teaching point in the sense of, okay, that's a pain point. That's great. My pain points and potentially, right, I think it's going to be relatable on all levels. But the pain points when I talk about where I used to be is like overworked, unfulfilled, and always wanting more in some type of way. And so it's always like, how do you speak to your tribe? And we'll talk about that today. So, something that, is it okay if ready to take it?
Yes, because I said to Kim, I was like, do you want to do this like question and answer style, or do you just want to freestyle? And she said, I just want to freestyle. And I was like, go for it. That makes my job so easy.
So guys, these are actually not real glasses, by the way. I always like to reference where my fonts on my presentations are from, and also my glasses. They're from iBuyDirect.com. They're for the computer screen, like the glare. Because if you guys are because like Rachel has like probably really cool glasses, like they're real. Like mine are real for the blue guy, but I should be good for the. So I adore Ashley, so that's why I was like really excited to be able to get here with you guys and just kind of just hang. I have a full presentation and it's gonna feel formal, but I really want it to be to the point where you're just gaining a ton of information on how to really start to put yourself out there on social media. So one of the things that I love to do is teach people on social media. And the biggest reason I love to teach it is because I used to be so bad at it. I was so bad at social media. And what I mean bad is that I just didn't really give it a chance. You're going to see some things in the slide, and it may not be what Beachbody really teaches us. And And it's not like I'm going against the grain of what Beachbody teaches us. I'm just going from a different psychological approach, because I know it's worked so well for my coaches, so well for the people that are coming into my community, that I can't go without sharing. But I want to ask you guys real quick, by a raise of hands, who like, have you ever gotten to a point, actually, when was the last time, actually it's not a raising a hand question, I always like to kind of interact more. Who here has ever said, I don't know what to post? Let's start this over. Okay, so we've all been there. Amber, you're not raising your hand. I'm not sure why you're not raising your hand. Just kidding. So, okay, I'm going to bring up my slide right here. So there's a lot of things. Who has also felt like, I don't, like when I'm on social media, like I don't really, know how to connect with people without feeling salesy. Have you ever felt like that? So we've all been there. And the great thing about it is that regardless if I'm teaching it to you, I still have been there. And this is something where I want to help you guys implement this on just like kind of like an ease on a daily basis, because we get so stuck that when we become Beachbody coaches, we have to be this person on social media. And that's actually quite the opposite. It's just an amazing tool for us to use. So I want to help you guys either fall back in love with social media, or fall in love if you're a newer coach, whoever's, on the call or listening to it later. So let me share my screen. Okay. So I have, kind of a two-part system of what I want to help you guys with. I'll give you guys all these slides so you'll be able to have everything. But I really want to help you with, I know there's 4 vital behaviors, but I'm teaching on the 3, and you'll see that in there. And just kind of the whole concept of like getting unstuck. Stop feeling like we have to like pull teeth to put up a post. But I want to come from a place of where this really all began. So 3.5, don't worry, I'm not going to age like 1 year old. We're not going to start that low. But 3.5 years ago, I got into this business, and to say the least is that I was very much an extreme pessimist. But I showed a smile on the outside, and I was just always so eager to help other people, but don't even like try to make my life better. And it really stemmed from my childhood. And when I think about kind of like images, because I love imagery, I love speaking at social media with images, and this is why I love presenting in images, is I think about this. I think about the time that this word was just across my face all the time. Abuse, abuse, abuse. But I didn't really come to the terms of this until about 2 years ago. So when I was about to get on stage in Alpena, Michigan, I believe, Ash, you were there, right? Were you in Alpena? I remember I was standing outside, or I was getting ready to go on stage, and I was going to talk about social media. And I was going after, you may have heard of them, Rachel Doyle and Lindsay Thompson, some top coaches within Team Rockstar Fit. And I just felt, man, I have nothing to stand on here. I just feel these women are killing it. They have such a great thing. And I just said, you know what? I'm just going to take myself back. I'm going to look at my notes, and I'm going to go do my presentation. So when I was looking at my presentation, I had some notes down, and I knew I was going to talk about my past a little bit. Just talk about my mom and this and that. And right by my mom's name, I put mental abuse. And I sat there and I thought to myself, whoa, I've never admitted that to myself. I've never said that out publicly. I just always said my mom and I had a hard relationship. But when I think as early as 5 years old, I can really think back to where it all really started, to the point where there was complete ignorance, to the point where she came down with a disease called chronic fatigue immune deficiency syndrome, and she blamed it all on me. I was 8. I didn't know what to do. So what did I do? I went and I made like presentations, and I did it all around her disease and say, Mom, I understand. Well, you don't understand me. You don't get me. And then I just went through kind of high school and kind of just went through it. And when I started getting into my 20s, that's when it started to really come to surface. When I met this man, my husband now. And I started to realize that that abuse was now trickling over into my relationship. A lesser version, but still a version. So when my boyfriend at the time didn't pick me up at 8:50 on the dot, and it was 8:51, I'd freak out. So when I think about when I started this business kind of crumbling. I started this business with no trust issues, or with no trust. And I think about that, and I think about where that went, and to the point where I'm 25 years old in my mom's house, in the closet, curled up like a baby. So the vulnerable piece to my story is that. And so when I think about my past to my future, I have so much appreciation. And that's not what happened when I started as a Beachbody coach. And that's not what was happening when I was posting up on social media. The appreciation I have for her, that she has led me to want to help other people feel fulfilled. She has helped me want to be the best wife for my husband, because she kind of only wanted me to marry a pro athlete. I kid you not. I actually was dating a pro athlete at one point, super side note. And I ended up, he was with someone else. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, what was I thinking? And she didn't care. She said, he had money. Go marry, go be with him. That's the kind of upbringing I had, is that, all you have to do is die and pay taxes, and you better marry a rich man. But what I think about these stories and how I'm able to take this into my Beachbody business is that I have so much appreciation for that abuse. Because frankly, I don't think I would be here at 9:00 Eastern on a Thursday night with a team that you guys have no benefit to my downline. Have you ever heard people say that? Like, you're not under my downline. You're not my downline coach. That shit doesn't even cross my mind. And so when I think about our past, and when we think about how we come into this business, well, I'm not good at social media. I've never coached before. I don't know how to do this in this business. Well, can we start to really just chip away at that? And where can we start to find the satisfaction and the appreciation for where your past is now bringing you to today? So if you're a new coach, you're like, man, I don't want to get it deep into this yet. Know that this vulnerability piece is going to start to really set you free. And so I think about, hold on, let me exit this screen. Let me just get this out. You zoom out. Oop, zoom out. There. Because a piece to your social media is vulnerability. And we're going to talk about that in a bit. And being vulnerable is where people really start to get to know you. You've heard the sayings in, be you, believe in yourself, all these things. But you're like, no, I'm going to show you my perfect household. I'm going to show you this perfect filtered photo. I'm going to show you all of that because that's safe. And that's what people want to see. But on the other end is people that are feeling the abuse, that are feeling defeated, that are not understanding the appreciation. And you're there to show them that. So when I talk about my past, or I talk about anything vulnerable, because there's so much in between my mom and my now, because gosh, it just trickled over. I talk about the appreciation because people on our social media, the customers that are coming in, the potential coaches are coming in, they want to get to this point, but they also need to feel relatable. So for them to get to here, they need to feel relatable, and then you show them the light. And so I'm going to share a little bit of piece about that when we go through these lessons. And I have a ton of examples, kind of obnoxious how many examples I have. But this kind of psychology behind sharing our stories on social media can happen on Facebook Live now. I love the fact that we can talk about that, because Facebook Live and a Facebook post, it should be applied to everything I'm teaching today, because Facebook Live is maybe scary for you. I know it was for me. I remember I was shaking, and there was total all these technical difficulties, but it got up and it was terrible. But guess what? A year later, I just saw my first one. I literally just had my first one come up on my time hop. And I'm like, man, it's been a year. That's freaking awesome, because it's been a year since I've been consistently putting myself out there to feel comfortable on the biggest, like best algorithm out there. Facebook Live is the best thing to do. If you are ever frustrated and say no one likes or comments on my stuff, start doing some Facebook Lives, because then you're going to start getting a ton of freaking traction. So now let's get back into, okay, where are we now? You're like, this social media thing is overwhelming for me. I just don't feel like dealing with it. Why do I have to post 3 times a day? I never posted before. We've all been there. And so just so you know, if you've never really posted before, this is not a free pass to not post, but I agree. You shouldn't be posting 3 times a day. That's aggressive, because it's like, man, like you just came out of nowhere. But we start to gradually do that. And that's stuff that we learn in Rock the Basics and all that great stuff. But gradually put yourself out there. So before you get out there, and this is something that I'm teaching my coaches almost right off the bat. So we had last September on the Team Rockstar Fit call, her name is Susan Foyer. She wrote the book, Why Motivating People Doesn't Work, and This Does. The book was all about her ARC method. And that just stuck with me. Like, this book stuck with me. Her ARC methods just stuck with me. It just made sense. And it made so much sense to teach it too. So these aren't just like kind of like airy-fairy things up in the air. Like, this is legitimate stuff when you get down to the roots of why you are motivated to do something. And by the way, why we can't motivate anyone. If you haven't read the book yet, she says that almost right off the bat, you can't motivate people. And I was like, what? You gotta be freaking kidding me. I was like, this is our freaking job. And then we go into it, and it was a relief. It was a relief that when people aren't participating in their challenge groups, and when coaches aren't hitting Success Club, it doesn't mean you stop coaching them. But what it does mean is that we gotta help them get to this, because it is all down to them. So the ARC method is the A, the R, and the C. So the autonomy piece, like, we have a choice in the matter. So I want to help you guys get people to choose to come to your social media. When people are actually going to Google in the search engine and be like, I'm going to go right to Jennifer's account. I'm going to go right to Sheila's account, going right to her. So how do we get people to choose that? Well, we start to go from the place of that you get them. Have you ever seen a post that someone's like, or you were like, man, she freaking gets me. Like, she understands me. Have you ever felt so related to them? That's the kind of stuff is that people are going to start to choose to come back to you, that are going to choose to want to be in your groups, that are going to choose to show up on these calls, because you start to relate with them, and then you start to give them that coaching stuff, the belief. And I want to say, like, you're giving this out, but remember, this is also very internal. I actually, like I said right before I got on the call, is Ash was like, come on 5 minutes later because we're going to do announcements. And I was like, no, I want to come on, right away, because I want to learn. I want to learn from others. So I want to choose to do that. So it's like, these things are also for us. So like, I get into other people's challenge groups. I want to be able to get in there so I can start to feel this. I can feel like that challenger, because what happens sometimes with coaches is that we become a coach and we forgot that we were a challenger. And so maybe you weren't a challenger. I wasn't a challenger when I started. I started right as a coach. I believed in my coach and I went for it. I believed in the mission. I went for it. I believed in the business more than I believed in the products, frankly. And then that had to come, because that was really awkward when I was throwing up, so Shakeology for a while. By the way, because I was putting water in it and I was being super stubborn. I was like, that's so much low fat, it's so much less calories. I was that girl, and so I was like, oh God, put a damn banana and peanut butter in it. It's like heaven. So when we think about this ARC method, we're going to walk through that. And so the C is the competence. We believe that they really can. We don't just say, man, you freaking rock, and not back it up. Why do you believe in them? Why do you believe in yourself? Put some tangible stuff to it. Because I always say this on most of my calls. My coaches are so funny about it now. Every time I talk about the word consistency and believe in yourself, I'm like, oh, I want to vomit when I hear that. And then I'm sarcastic about it, because I was so desensitized by it. when I would listen to the 15 million national wake up call, and it's like, and one of their tips was believe in yourself. I literally was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. This is what we gotta do to be successful? Believe in ourselves? Like, you're high. I was like, but it's true when you get down to it. So how can we not start to really, truly believe? So if you're going to dish that out to your coaches and your customers, what are you dishing out to yourself? So one of the things is that I love being able to help you kind of position this now. All right. So now we know the psychological needs. Now we understand what it takes to really have people make movement. So when you feel frustrated that people aren't making change, with their Shakeology, when you're frustrated when people aren't, reacting to your social media, or frustrated when our coaches aren't taking action, that's when we come from the ARC method. And that's when we start to hone in on the person that you want to work with. I like to condense this and make it super easy. The person you want to work with is you. 99.9% of the time, it is you. Or it's you 3 years ago. The National Wake Up Call this week was awesome. I loved when she said about, I think her name was Jenna. Yeah. She says, this is not just the Jenna show on my social media. It is, how can I help Jenna 3 years ago? That's exactly how to describe who your avatar is, the person you want to speak to, that target market. And I'm going to share all this with you because if you have not done this before, or if you've done it before and you haven't done it in a while, I would highly recommend doing it. So I go through a whole system of list some characteristics about this person, aka you. Create a visual, put some like skin in the game. Be like, okay, I want her. I want to help her. I want to be able to take her on this journey the way that it helped me. Because that starts to make it real. It starts to make it real when I think about the Kim that was in that bedroom, crying her eyes out at 23 years old like she was 3 years old. And then going and living with her husband and still doing it in her bed. I think about her. I think about how can I help her? And then I start to really dig into the stuff of, okay, what's vulnerable that I can share? And this is not like, I'm just going to expose all of me. I do it because we've now created a social media where it's for others. It is supposed to be social, but it is now going to be for this Blair. My avatar is Blair. She's, newly married, no kids yet. Rachel, got you, girl. Loves animals. And so these are things that we start to talk about. Outgoing, but insecure at times. So how do I speak about that? So I talk about things in personal development books that remind me of my self-limiting beliefs. I talk about, fun things too. Like, I'm not just talking about, like, if you go to my social media, you would definitely not think it's like this dreary thing. It's like, oh, she's always so damn deep. It's like, no, we talk about some fun things. Like today I talked about just a few products that I'm loving right now. I was able to relate it back to Shakeology, but I was able to talk about some things and people are geeking out over it. They're geeking out of me bringing them value. So when we think about really honing on this avatar, this is where this journaling exercise is going to be huge. This is where we won't ever really go a day without knowing what to post, because we're always having this kind of list, this kind of journaling, these feelings that are coming up. Because if you ever have a time where you're like, man, that was really helpful, aka like something in your personal development book, something on this call, something with a one-on-one, something, that you did in your workout, man, that helped me feel like this. That helped me think like this. You post that. You post that because your person needs that. And I always say nothing is too small, because I could have never posted about my chickpea pasta. And I have 2 people in my inbox right now. They're saying, wow, I've been really looking for an alternative for pasta. And I've been talking about my pasta story of, I used to eat a box of pasta in one sitting before Shakeology and Pop-Tarts for breakfast. And like, no one not that no one's like responding to that, but like I put out stuff about chickpeas and they're like, wow, you're going to help me with my pasta addiction. Oh, great. Now I can talk to you about Shakeology. I can start to segue. I literally have been talking about my Pop-Tart addiction before Shakeology. I so miss the sprinkled ones though, with the, you know what I'm talking about? The strawberry filling. I haven't had those like easily in 3.5 years. I should totally just bring them back though. But anyways, so, by the way, like we all are coaches, like Ashley, I know does a really great job. So I hope you guys all are like kind of eating bad sometimes, but you want to feel good. You go towards what feels good. So,
Are you saying I do a really good job at eating bad?
yeah, totally. It's like, I totally see it. No, I do just see like you going there. No.
Yeah, no, I do. I go there all the time.
I know. But, but you see where I'm saying, like, sharing something that I thought was so simple, but it helped me. The box literally says it's like more than half the carbs, but it has like protein in it and chickpea pasta, and a lot of great fiber. So the health benefits are like just insane. But I could have just overlooked that, but I didn't, because the box literally said you can now have pasta every night. And I'm like, I've been dying for this. And so think about stuff like this. Nothing goes unturned. And it's going to start to feel like you're going to have an endless pit, and that's going to feel amazing. So every time I get on a call, or not every time I get on a call, that's not true. Let me take that back, because Ashley didn't ask me this, so it's not true at all. But a lot of times when and by the way, I'm like super dramatic, but I do backpedal. So when I get asked to teach on social media, I do get asked a lot, can you share the do's and the don'ts of social media? And I'm like, sure, totally. And it comes down to, I don't think there's any do's and don'ts of social media. And the reason being is because the ARC method comes always to mind. And the reason why it comes to mind is because if I told you, you have to post like this, or you should be posting like this, and you shouldn't be doing that, guess what? You're checked out. You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice in the matter. Of course, there's ways of doing social media that's going to have people really excited about being on your page. They're going to have people that are really excited about joining your challenge groups. But that's the lesson that you need to learn. Just like Ashley and I had to learn. Ashley said, you guys would have never been on my team 3.5 years ago. But guess what? She had to learn that. And she chose that. She chose that path. And so when I think about what your social media looks like, if you feel that you want to choose to put Shakeology bags and not you in it, that's it. That's your choice. But then you got to see, okay, would I respond to that? If you saw a Shakeology bag, you never even heard about it before, because I always say this too, like I geek the F out over Shaun T. I'm obsessed with him. I think he's the best thing ever. So when I talk about Shaun T and insanity and like T25 and size, no one knows what I'm talking about. You guys do. You guys are geeking out with me, but guess what? You're already coaches and you're already taken care of. We're not always just posting for coaches. So ask that when you go across your page, and I'm going to have you guys evaluate your page, which is a good thing. Because I evaluate my page every Sunday. I go back and I'm like, okay, what went well this week? Would I have responded to that? Because, you're in the moment. Like, I'm not always thinking like, oh my God, I would totally stop for this photo. Like, I'm not always thinking that. But what I am thinking is, am I being true to me? Are you being true to you? Would you stop for that? Did you find value in your own post? Something I teach in one of my like higher level courses is, are you your own best friend? And I asked the women in this group, and everyone said no. And I could say, I get you. I used to be there. I'm now my own best friend. And so when you look at your page and when you look inward on you, are you adding value to your own life? So I did a post this morning about let's redefine strong. I didn't get a lot of likes and comments. Just so you know, that does not matter. Likes and comments is not your value, by the way. But what I did get is 3 messages behind the scenes saying, that hit me. That was a value to me. And guess what? Even if I didn't get those likes and comments and stuff behind the scenes, it was a value to me. I look at sometimes my social media as like a dear diary, and just as much as it's therapeutic for me, it's potentially therapeutic for someone else. So I wrote this about let's define strong. And I went strong. I barely can spell. And I redefined it to what makes me feel strong. Not rock hard abs. I had that. Not super like luscious everything. I've had that. I was in the size test group over 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago? And it was one of the coolest experiences of my life. It really was. But when I look at those photos and when I remember myself looking in the mirror naked the night before my photo shoot, and I ended up being on the infomercial, I remember being like, I don't even know who she is. This isn't strong. Like, this isn't what I want. It was 30 days. I lost 16 pounds and 23 inches in 30 days. And I just remember saying to my husband, I'm like, I don't even know who she is. So I now redefine strong for me. And when I think for you guys with the do's and don'ts of social media, is it consistent? Are you consistent? When I gave myself, no one gave me this. It's like I gave myself this award. I'm a self-proclaimed social media guru. Like totally gave myself that award like 3 days ago. Just I had a celebration for myself. But you guys are probably like, she is so egotistical.
No, because I posted in the team page. Just a reminder: Guru Gorski is going to be doing social media tonight.
That's you, Guru Gorski.
So totally, you get that award.
Yeah, totally. And it's like, and I say this and I laugh about it because I'm just consistent. That's all. And so is Ash. We're just consistent. And that's why people can say, oh man, I wish I was where you were. It's like, just go be consistent for the next 3 years. That's all. And that's where you start to find a lot of passion in this. And it's not just posting up on social media. It's not just that 1, 2, 3, third post and, hey, I'm going to invite potentially on this next one. And I'm going to show you some ways of this. And so I hope that's like you're tapping into that a little bit. So when we think about the motivation, I'm going to breeze through a few of these. When we think about the motivation, there's impose versus inherit. I actually, I'm not going to lie. I totally forgot these were in my slides. And I literally just journaled about guilt and shame. This is kind of giving me one of those like out of body experiences. So, because I presented on this before and I'm like moving around slides. So impose motivation is that we get the guilt and the shame and the fear, and we spend a ton of time here. It's majority of the time that we spend. I don't know why I'm highlighting that. But it's never talked about. And I literally just journaled on that. I said, I live, guilt and shame, and I journaled about like what kind of guilt and shame came up for me, and fear, but we don't talk about it. So why aren't we talking? And it's crazy because I want to start talking about that on my social media. Again, my social media is like super upbeat. Like it's not this like it's not like unsolved mysteries and like everyone's just like, I'm just like, anyways, it's not a Lifetime movie. Let's put it that way. But when we think about how are we getting out of this, this is how we start to talk to our customers and ourselves and our coaches, is tapping into this because they feel the guilt behind the workouts. They feel the shame that they put the weight back on. They fear that this business opportunity is not going to be good for them. So we need to help them get to the inherit where we're really enjoying this. We're generating amazing energy. If you guys don't follow Brendan Burchard, we just went to a high performance. Wait, Ash, were you at High Performance Academy?
I went last year. I didn't just go, but I went last year.
I was like, whoa, because I was going to say, I totally missed you. So yeah, if you have not been to High Performance Academy or even, seen Brendan Burchard stuff, go there because he shares how to generate natural energy. We can talk about the health benefits and all the stuff with our food and our nutrition. That's uber important, but there's a reason why he's able to generate at such a high level. And it's just like, how can we find ourselves so interested that we can't even really like put it like a tangible to it. And so that's how I feel about social media. And that's something where I really want to help other people feel this way, because this is where we feel good. This is where we feel motivated on a daily basis. And it does not mean you are living in that Snapchat filter with the beautiful butterflies everywhere. That's not what I'm saying. That's not always happening, but it's going to happen more often than not, especially when you start to come from your arc. And so when I think about the scroll shopping, like value pieces. So when you hear the do's and the don'ts of social media, this is the kind of stuff that people really want to see. And I understand that. And I like that. And then I think it's very, very vital. Is like, how can you, like, right here. So there's like a really, like, it's an audio book, and like, bam, like right out before the sun, pop, like, look at this energy. Look at this value that I'm adding to people's day. I'm adding so much value to their day, because guess what? Shelly, I know her, but like, I know her person doesn't want to get up in the morning. She's struggling with energy. She's struggling with motivation. She just made them excited. This post was just much for Shelly as it was for other people. So remember that too when you're posting. So before and afters, we obviously know these are huge, but how are we sharing that journey? How are we able to say, like, okay, so like, if you want to add value because you want to have a before and after for you, how can you start to get into that ARC method for you? Because this is going to be so inspirational, so much value. Wow, these programs work. And I know this is desensitized, with how we have before and afters, but like, how is that for you? Where are you channeling that piece in? And then when you start to talk about your community piece, it's like, I get you. And that's where you start to talk about where you guys are at, like how you're feeling. So like Rachel and I can really get on a level where like we get each other. We probably don't. She's probably like, no, you're actually like way worse than the moms that are. But she's just like, hey, I'm trying to do this job, full-time job, and still make this happen. I was working. So when I talk about the girls that want to get me, I used to do, 15 plus hour days. I kid you not. I used to be an event planner, and I worked in the wedding, and I worked in catering and the restaurant industry. And then I went all the way up to running a venue management company for weddings. And I was working 15 plus hours, 3-hour round trip commute, and working this business. And the way that I did it is I did it in the car on the phone. So it actually helped me communicate a little bit better with people, and not doing everything through Messenger. Now that voice memos around, oh my God, that's like a godsend, because you don't have to like actually like fully get on a conversation with someone. But not that we should get away from that. But I talked to that in a post like this of, I get you, I get your struggle. So if I'm helping them out through a coaching opportunity post, or I'm even helping them, hey, you're feeling down and out, there's no energy, pop on this podcast, get this audio book. This was my saving grace. I'm actually about to put together my top 10 podcasts and why they're good, and I'm going to put down my top 10 books and why they were good. Because I get asked this all the time from women in my tribe. And I'm like, you know what? That would have been so helpful for me. This is helpful for coaches. Why wouldn't it be helpful for our customers? And so then you think about, okay, I like this one, and I wanted to really share with you guys this. Don't underestimate the power of this, our Zoom. It's like, well, we look like we're in the Brady Bunch, like what's going on? But this kind of stuff is not happening outside. Remember, you may see a million Zooms. You may see a million before and afters. Your tribe is not seeing it. You just somehow went into Beachbody Google, and Googled all of the coaches in Beachbody, and now you see all their stuff. Ash, I know Ash does this. I think it's amazing. She like unfollows all Beachbody coaches, I think, for the most part, except you guys. And it's amazing because she doesn't have all these people, and she's only seeing her tribe. And I'm not saying you can't look at other people's social media, because I think it's an amazing learning experience. But when you're looking at other people's social media and you're getting defeated, unfollow right away. But so that's where I say these posts, like, what? Like, we're talking for people like all across the country. Like, that's freaking badass. When I saw that for the first time, because I started right as a coach. When I saw that for the first time, I'm like, that's so cool. And I'm like, I'm already a coach. So like, I'm already signed up. But I'm like, that is really cool. And so I'm trying to help you guys to, desensitize yourself from this, because these things can get to a point where we don't post them anymore. We don't feel it's of value because we see it so much because we're on Google. I just made that up, by the way. Beachbody Google. And my husband said I put this in context on my team call last night, and he's like, it's not funny. And I was like, oh, it's funny. And then I was like, it's only going to be funny because I'm going to totally work it up and I'm going to laugh more about it than actually talk about it. And so anyways, all right. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to go in here, but I'm going to really breeze through this one because this is really good stuff. And there are a lot of examples. So this is where I'm going to be able to, you can take away and say like, okay, how can I replicate this post for me? What's going to make me feel like this? Oh yeah.
I just want to say about what you just said. We see those posts all the time because we follow other coaches. But like a few months ago, I was with both my sister and my best friend, and I said, let me borrow your phone because they're not coaches. They don't have coaching friends. And they let me scroll through their social media, and you don't see any of the stuff we do. None of it.
Ash, that's such a good thing. So what you just brought up is such a freaking great tool, and I need to write that down because when you want to look for like scroll stopping photos, you hear this phrase a lot. Do that. Do exactly what Ashley did. Also, even though your husband is not your tribe, for most of us, he's not our tribe, or your spouse or whomever it may be, or a family member, they may not be in your tribe. Just look at them. Be a super creep, like look over their shoulder.
I do that to Brandon.
Yeah, all the time, right? And
Yeah.
I look where he stops, and I'm like, why did he stop on that? Okay, why did he stop? Because their attention span's a little bit less than ours, and so it's good. That's really good. And so that's like when you want to start to geek out on social media, do stuff like that. Oh, to that point, I want to give you guys this tip because this is when you start to really go into like the higher level thinking of social media and get like really excited about like behaviors. So you guys all know that Facebook now has like the Instagram stories and Snapchats like going on right now. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is look at what's going on right now. So if you look at your whole, I guess they're calling it Facebook stories. I don't know. Look at your whole stories. Is there anyone on there that's not a coach? Look at that. And the reason being is because now you're just marketing to coaches. And then ask yourself, have you ever said, like, oh man, like I reached out to this girl about this group and she seemed really excited about it, but she hasn't gotten back to me. I know she saw my message. It says seen. They just forgot. They don't use Facebook Messenger like we do. Like Facebook Messenger is like email to us. When I talk about not looking at my email for the first 2 hours of when I wake up, I don't look at my Facebook Messenger in the first 2 hours of when I wake up because I look at that as just as email. So it's kind of like, what's our tribe's behavior? And so for me, I'm not going on it just yet. I see no value to it yet. That's just my cup of tea because I'm seeing the behaviors. Instagram stories is where I'm personally putting my attention and I see the value of it. I love Snapchat. I just ended up thinking that Instagram stories was a better way for me. So Ash, that was a really good tip. Like huge, like quite massive. So we have the foot. Again, super dramatic. I could have just said like, great tip, Ash. It's amazing.
No, please praise me all night long. I like that. No, just kidding.
Oh, is your love language affirmations?
Actually, that's probably how I receive love, but I give as my love, like how I give love.
Yeah.
No, but I only did that because coaches are so frustrated. They hold themselves back from posting because they think people are already inundated with that content. And the truth is they're just not. They're not.
Oh, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like how many, like you're going to start to get people that say like, you're literally the only positive person on my feed.
Exactly.
And you're going to see yeah. It's like, yeah. And so we have the 4 vital behaviors. I'm well aware there's 4, but I want to focus on the 3. Because this is the OGs, okay, guys? And so even though the 4th one's super good, is recognition. So the product of the product, personal development, and invite. And I love when I created this concept, they actually didn't have it in this order. And they ended up putting in a different order because it's like, you got to take care of you before you take care of the invite. And I actually spoke on my Northeast region for Beachbody, and I flat out called it out. And so that's probably why they changed it. That's definitely not why they changed it. But I was just like, it should be in this order, guys. And so it really should be because if you ever feel frustrated in inviting in this business, check yourself here. Check yourself at 1 and 2. Because if you're not doing 1 and 2, it's freaking hard to invite into this business. And I'm not saying that you need to do 4 hours of personal development and eat like you're a supermodel. But it is really hard when you're not doing somewhat of the products and you're not growing your mind. A big reason why I feel my energy is always high is because I'm always surrounded by guys like you. And I'm always putting either an audiobook or personal development every day. I've worked up to about an hour a day because I choose that. I choose that. Like, I don't have all the time in the day, but I'm choosing to do it an hour a day. And so when I think about the 3 vital behaviors, it's like, okay, how can we now use that in social media? And so I love doing framework because this is where people get stuck. They're like, okay, cool. You gave us all this great like motivational information, but how does it look? And this is where it really looks. And so my friend Becky, and she showed, what I love about her post is that she already naturally does this. And a lot of you are probably already naturally doing it too. So remember, the product is the green, and the purple is the personal development, and the blue is for the invite. And so when you're talking about the product doesn't mean just, I have to talk about shakes and my workout program, but she's talking about how that product has really helped her. She's talking about how being surrounded by this community has helped her, because the product is our community too. It's in our environment, and it's how our mindset is changing. And then she goes into her mindset. She goes in what she's learned through personal development. You don't have to reference a book. It's just flat out, how are you thinking differently? And then she invites them to a Love Yourself Body challenge group. So she didn't put on, join my challenge group right now. She led into that. She showed, hey, this is the product. This is how I've developed, and here is where you're going to go do it too. I'm inviting you to this. And then, so I did one when I had my appendix rupture, and it was this time last year. And I talked about how I was 39 days in, and I was about to go get surgery, and I was still doing the products. I was still doing the workouts. And like I said, you know how like you show up for yourself to be able to show up for others. That's really why I did it. Me posting about this, was all for me at the end of the day, because I needed something to motivate me to get out of bed, because it was rough. I had an external tube, my appendix ruptured, and it wasn't like a clean rupture. Like, I had to like wait, like I never even heard of this. And I had an external tube, super hot sex life going on right then, coming out. And so that was my product. And then I talked about where my mind was there, what I was learning. And then I invited them to another challenge group. But also, or actually, I did invite them to a challenge group, but I want to really, all right, my bad. So same thing right here. So that was there. Rachel Doyle. She's talking about her before and afters. She always looked really great. That was never the issue. It's how she felt internally. So that's the product right there. 20 pounds heavier, where she was feeling, in that internal piece, and what the products have done for her. Here, personal development. Where it's changed, coaching opportunity, inviting to the coaching opportunity. And then I really like this one from Lindsay Thompson, because our call to actions, we should probably be putting a call to action on almost every single post. And what I mean by that is you're inviting them to a group, or you're inviting to a different way of thinking. And that's like, if it's social posts about your kids and stuff like that, like, it's not like, do you parent your kids like this? It's like, no, you don't have to ask that. Like, it's like, so just to lighten that. But call to actions are great. So Lindsay, super simple. The message, right here. Yes, that's the product. She's taking the opportunity. She's doing it. And then the third piece is that work out because you love your body, not hate it. That's her tribe. That's huge. And then she's saying, who else is a morning workout warrior? She's inviting them to this way of thinking. She's inviting them to work out with her like this. And then we got Sarah Morrison right here. I love this one. Same thing, because it's a different way of thinking. a different way of going about the product. And so she's talking about the coaching opportunity here. So she's talking about how this product, this coaching opportunity has changed her. She's changed so much. She used to be this pessimist. She used to, and then she goes into where the development went. $40,000 a year to six figures. Her mindset was like, if I only make $40,000, that's perfect. Now she's expanding, six figures plus, and then inviting for them to look at this differently. Go the extra degree. It will always reward you. She's not saying like, hey, do you want the six figures? She's like, no, I'm inviting you to this way of thinking. So I really want to get this in, and this actually is a really quick one. So that's kind of a structure of like how we can use what we have existing in our Beachbody business, the 3 vital behaviors, the 4th one being recognition. Recognition on itself, putting posts about your coaches, putting posts about a milestone that you reached in your life. Don't be afraid to celebrate you. I love when people ask me like, what time of day should I post this? And especially when it's about celebration, I'm like, anytime. No, like, no, but I thought I was supposed to post from like 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. or like, between 6:30 and 8:30 p.m. And I was like, try it. Do it at 11 a.m. See if anyone responds to it. When you're celebrating something in your life, people want to celebrate you. Even though we have like these haters and these naysayers in this life, people love to celebrate you. And so, and Rachel, that's probably why you and I feel super singled out, because like we have all these moms and like they celebrate their kids and exploit their kids. So, all right. So bringing it home right here. The book with Jab, 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 Right Hook by Gary Vee. Freaking love this book. It's amazing. But I'm going to give you really the Cliff Notes version of it. So Jab, Jab, Jab is value, value, value. Right Hook is ask for it. I'm asking for the sale. I'm asking for this in my social media posts. I'm asking for this. But I want to preface this before we get into kind of like what jabs can look like. And I always say this, take this and run with it what works for you. These are just amazing, like just examples that have helped me and a lot of my coaches. So you put your touch to it. But when you start to put out posts, and most of your posts are just invite posts, and you're wondering why people aren't signing up, you're just not adding enough value. And so when someone says no or not right now, they're really just saying, you haven't showed me enough value. And that's refreshing, frankly, because you're like, okay. So when I have someone say no to a coaching opportunity or a challenge group, and I say, hey, I understand you don't see the value yet. What is something that's holding you back from joining my group? What is something that's holding you back from joining my team? I just did this with a girl that I've been having a conversation with for, 6-7 months. And I finally have gotten to a point where I feel comfortable in asking her this. And now I'm like, I'm going to ask people this way earlier. But it's just like, what value have I not given you yet? And that's really what it comes down to. So when I think about the jabs, it's what there's a few jabs that we can do. So personal. So something that's your favorite, like fashion, decorating, hobbies, because people want to know you. It's not just health and fitness and mindset training that you're doing on your social media. They want to know you. That's why we all feel so connected to Ashley. Like we know her. And so 2, feelings. What has this done for you? What has this business done for you? We talked about this a ton leading up to this. And it's like, how do you feel from a workout? How do you feel from nutrition? How do you feel about this community? And then the 3rd piece is speak to your tribe. And so that's going to go back to your avatar. How are you speaking to them? How are you saying to them like, man, you get me, like, or that just tugged at my heart, or you're just like, what do you want to hear that day? Maybe you're like, I need to hear this. I used to do a lot of posts of just motivating me to get out of bed. Before I became like a Beachbody coach, I had an Instagram account that no one was following barely, and I was posting up posts from Pinterest because I needed that. So that was my journey. I needed that. So come from that place. And then the right hook is the invite. So I talk about here, but personal, just like fashion. I drop in here about athleisure. And then I reference here about, I got a gift card from Lululemon for a business training. Like, how cool is that? So I'm putting still in the business in there, but I'm also talking about something light, something that I like to talk about because I used to literally only wear black. That was my whole wardrobe as an event planner, all black. And then, what's like the feelings? When I think about this business, I think about the community. I think about friendships. I think about the connection piece that I have with people. So I share that. I share why I love the friendships that I found in fitness, because it's a different kind of friendship that I have. I have blessed to have 10 girlfriends that I grew up with and I'm still friends with, but only 2 of them I have that connection with in fitness. And it doesn't mean I'm not going to be friends with the other 8 of them, but this is what I love about our community. There's that relatedness. So what are your feelings in this? Yours may not be the friendship. You may hate every single person on this call. Like, I don't know where you're at. No. So the last, before we do the right hook, this is speaking to my tribe. I actually did this post a year ago and I still stand by this post. I do post still like this. I just did a post recently and I said, it's a shame that society has said that 5'2" and 140 pounds is fat. And that's me, society. And I went into it. And so this was my dear diary to my size 0 pants. Dear 0, like, I don't want to, like, we're breaking up. This is hard. I don't want to talk to you anymore. You've really done me wrong. You've put me in a different mindset. That's me speaking to my tribe. These words, these things, people feel this. Why do they feel it? Because I feel it. So we don't overcomplicate these posts, because it's like, man, just start to free write what you would be thinking. And then the last piece, invite to the groups. Invite. I talk about how I hated cleanses, but the 3-day refresh is amazing. And I absolutely love the ultimate reset. I'm one of those weirdos. I actually think the ultimate reset is easier than the 3-day refresh, frankly. There's more food. And talking about the diets, talking about these pants, inviting to the coaching opportunity with I hate being a Beachbody coach because I used to be embarrassed to talk about it. But I'm inviting them, but I've given them so much value prior. So look at this as like a 4-post sequence. How can you jab? How can you jab? How can you add value? How can you add value? Invite to my challenge group. Do the cycle again. Value, coaching opportunity. Value, all this kind of stuff. Because guess what? People are going to love a lot of those value posts, but when you coach opportunity, I don't think that you're getting 5,000 likes to get into your group. We're not all getting that. We're like, man, I put a picture up of my freaking puppy. Why that get so many likes opposed to this coaching opportunity that literally changed my life? But guess what? You've created a relationship with them prior that's going to be a little bit easier for you on the back end conversations to talk about it. So that's huge. So going back to your autonomy, what can we choose today? We can choose to share the value, or I have to or should share value. Because we can go into this business and just say, I'm going to just post when I'm supposed to post and just be out of this because I have to do this. Or we start to really take a little bit of a slower route, but it's going to be our choice and we're going to feel a ton more fulfilled. So that's it. I went 2 minutes over.
Oh my God, though, that was so good. Like, I have a lot of questions for you, and I know we're running out of time, because I was like, I mean, you always need to rehear. I've heard you speak before, and actually for you to start out saying that you were so nervous to get on that stage in Alpena, because I remember that, and you rocked it. And like, thinking back, it was kind of like, I mean, I obviously put you on a pedestal. Just to know that was going through your mind is kind of insightful. But first, quickest question. How did you make that presentation? You said you'd share where you get your fonts from.
Oh, yeah. I did it in Canva.
Oh, that was all Canva?
All Canva. Yeah,
okay.
Everything Canva.
That's awesome.
My fonts is, I should have put that on there. I usually put that on my slides. It was Selena and Oswald. I love those fonts.
Oh, yeah, those are good. So I know that I remember you sharing, I think you almost had like a,
sorry.
Turn the light off on you. He wants you to be done. He wants you to come to bed now.
I know.
You don't have a stent anymore in your abdomen. It's time to go to bed.
I know.
How do you deal with negative feedback? Because I think a lot of coaches don't post because they're afraid of the criticism. You had a pretty harsh critic at one point on social media. almost
Oh,
like a stalker person, right? So how do you get over that fear of what are people going to think of my story? Because it's very personal to you.
yeah. You know, it's great that you asked me this today, because I have a great relationship with my dad, really great relationship. And I actually, unfortunately, and fortunately, don't talk to my mom anymore. And so I actually do have a stalker, and I have someone that has been an online troll for 2 years now. Actually, ever since I got into the size test group, and they sent a ton of messages. They used to do it on Facebook. They used to do it on this. And what's really interesting is that I had a conversation with my dad today, and so I had a video and a video warped with photos. Again, it was talking about that size zero, that body image, and I'm super passionate about. I'm speaking to myself, speaking to my tribe, and he's so sweet about it. But he's just like, pretty much like, why do you gotta post those? Like, you're not wearing, a lot of clothes. Like, I had like leggings on and a sports bra on, and this is where I knew I had a full circle of negativity, because we never want to hear that from our family members. But we also, and he wasn't doing it in a negative way, but it helped me see where this person, this one stalker, this troll, has actually taught me so much. So I look at this stalker, this person that's so mean, so negative, a pure reflection of even like what my mom would say to me. It was like kind of like a deja vu moments when I would get stuff. And I don't think it was my mom, because like she would have been too savvy. This person is like super tech savvy. But anyways, I look at it as this person was my teacher, but this person wasn't my full-time job. And so when we consume ourselves with that kind of negativity on a daily basis and on a 24/7 basis when we think about our business, so it may not always come up, but it's definitely there subconsciously. That's when we have to disconnect. It's like, it's there. The negativity is there, but it's my teacher. And it taught me to understand other people's opinions, have empathy, and say there really truly is agree to disagree. Truly is and so I had that with my dad today. And I, frankly, 3 years ago, I would have been like, no, Dad, I'm not listening to you. But I listened. And I said, I respect your opinion. This is, what I was wearing is actually 10 times more than I would wear on a beach. And I would post that up on social media as well. And that's exposed to over hundreds of people. And so when I think about my brand and who I stand for and what I stand for, I put that out there because there's way too many women that think they need a flat stomach, rock hard abs, and that thigh gap. And they're putting their value on that. And I said, so I won't stop doing that, but I do respect what you mean. And I would never cross the boundaries of exposing too much. And he was just like, I'm so proud of you. Thank you. And he could have gone like, Kim, I don't agree with you. And I was like, well, you're my dad, but you're not like, you don't own me. So you birthed me. But anyways, like, that's how I deal with it now, because it's my teacher. And I look at every negative situation now with so much appreciation, so much fondness, because I'm like, okay, this hurts and this sucks. Like, I will not definitely say that it did not suck. I broke down in December about this person and didn't realize how much they affected me in my business, but it's my teacher. And so I look at that. It's like, it's pretty cool when you really start to transition that mindset.
Wow. That's deep. That's really interesting. I love hearing you. I have one last question that might throw you for a loop. So we always say, what's the number one thing you see new coaches doing wrong on social media? I want to know, in your opinion, what the number one thing you see veteran coaches doing with social media that they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Oh, veteran coaches. So that's it. You did. I actually didn't think you were going to throw me through. Oh my God. It's hard because I don't really follow a ton.
Yeah. Do you have a like page, or do you still just do personal page?
Yeah, no, I do a like page.
Okay.
So I like to call how I like help people like with their social media. Like give yourself a year, really focus on a page. Doesn't mean you can't have a like page or can't have Instagram or Snapchat, but focus your attention on learning that and like really establishing a tribe and value. Then put your graduation hat on and go to another one. So I did that with my personal page. And now I'm like really honing in on my Instagram and my like page kind of at the same time. Like knowledge wise. Doesn't mean I stop doing everything, but veteran wise, gosh.
I only thought of that because there was a coach that I followed for a long time, like brand new baby coach. I adored her because exactly what you talked about tonight. She was speaking to me. And as she became more successful, I ended up unfollowing her social media because you see the pattern of they speak to their tribe, reach a certain level of success, and now it's like what they're buying today.
So that's to piggyback off that. It's not doing your vital behaviors of what got you there. And so you guys better freaking call me out if I'm like totally rolling in rolled voices, which I would never do that. But if I'm not still speaking the same way in the sense of like, I get you, I'm here for you. That's where you really have shot yourself in the foot because that's what got you there.
Yeah.
And I also, it doesn't mean that you can't like be excited about the stuff that you've earned in this business and all this kind of stuff. I think that's always really great, but like you still got to level with the person 3 years ago, 5 years ago. And it doesn't mean you're like, oh, you're so below me. Like they're the superiority. That's where like bad relationships come in when you have like this superiority. Like it's actually something that I learned with what stops us. It's in bad relationships, it's superiority. And so that's what stopped your relationship with her.
Oh. Wow.
I learned that with Brendan. It's super good stuff. And so when you think you're above, this is one of my favorite things that Trina has said to us is that I'm not up here, I'm right here. Just further. That's all.
Yeah.
Just been in it longer. That's all.
Yeah. I literally, Kim, I took 4 pages of notes. This was awesome. I so appreciate your time.
5 pages of notes.
No, well, because even little stuff that I'd never thought of doing, like somehow weaving the 3 vitals into your post where you could call those 3 separate areas out of one thing. It's brilliant. You are a guru, and we are grateful that you made time for us tonight for sure. I won't be in the picture, but I'm going to get a picture. I still don't know.
You're here. We can see you.
I'm not on my screen, so I'll show it to you later.
I can take one too. Here.
Oh, maybe you take one too, because I don't know where I am. I'm not here.
Wait, maybe I should take my glasses off. They're kind of, they're cute, but
okay.
1, 2, 3. Oh crap! I always do that wrong. 1, 2, 3.
Cool. Well,
right,
you guys have a great rest of the month and have a great night.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you, Kim. Bye.